What's poppin', YouTube? You already know it's no escaping. Every day it's new Kanye updates. It's a new Kanye interview every single day, it feels like. So this week's no different. Last night we had Lex Fridman sitting down with Kanye West on his podcast, and they go over everything from engineering, Kim Kardashian, the future of humanity, of course the media, and Kanye's anti-Semitism, trusting people, his legacy, accountability, and of course advice for young people, fashion, we can't forget that. They touch on literally everything. Super dope interview. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Yeah, in this interview, Kanye, I feel like this is the best Kanye West interview. He's finally sounding clear and concise. He still goes off the rails. He still doubles down on a lot of issues that are controversial and a lot of divisive language. But unlike a lot of interviews, Lex does a great job at unpacking everything and pushing back on Kanye's comments about Jewish people. Lex is Jewish himself and definitely takes Kanye to task with a lot of his rhetoric. He pushes back on the George Floyd thing. Salute to Lex on that as well. Really dope. He was able to let Kanye speak without interrupting him, but also pushing back when need be on a lot of points that Kanye was trying to make. And I feel like this was one of the best interviews to date, best Kanye interviews. If you actually want to try to make sense about where Kanye's at in his life, he touched on a lot of stuff about his family and kids. It was, it was very interesting. It was just an interesting interview. I think Kanye does suffer from some mental issues just because of how he spazzes out toward the end of the interview. You guys gotta watch this interview, but towards the end of it, everything was going kind of smooth. And then when Lex kind of called Kanye out and said, "Can I call you out on your BS?" And Kanye just was like, "What BS?" And he flipped out on Lex, but Lex kept his composure. And I was I was impressed how he was able not to move Lex off of his points or rattle him. He kept his composure and basically fought back, pushed back on Kanye. But it also showed that these outbursts where if you disagree with him he completely spazzes out. And I think that's problematic, and it's indicative of why people around him is dropping like flies, where everybody's cutting ties with him. Nobody has a real close relationship with him. He seems like a guy that doesn't have any real friends or anybody he can trust. That's one of the biggest takeaways from this interview. Is it kind of made you feel like, wow, Kanye's in a lonely space where he literally doesn't have anybody. And he kind of admits to that, saying he doesn't trust anybody around him. Only person he trusts is God. So, and then Lex pushes back on him, saying I hope we can be friends or you can trust me. And then Kanye spazzes out on Lex and says, "I don't trust you either." And you could tell it kind of hurt Lex's feelings a little bit. So it was kind of sad, really. Kind of sad. Somebody to be in that type of space where they can't trust anybody and they're alone all the time. Absolutely no friends, nobody to talk to. Yeah, man. It was, at some points it got really dark. Kanye tried to implement some humor and tell some weird jokes, but they kind of fell flat for me. I didn't think they were funny, but yeah. I'm not really that up on Lex podcast, but I'm definitely gonna be tuning into more of his podcasts, more of his shows, because he's a really good interviewer. I was like, I don't know who this Lex guy is. I'm sorry that I don't know who Lex is, but I'm subscribed to his channel and definitely gonna check out his interviews. because I feel like he gave Kanye the respect of letting him speak and not like censoring him, but also pushing back and not letting Kanye just run crazy with his conspiracy theories or ideas or any divisive language, you know. And I feel like a lot of people like, well, why can some people interview Kanye, but what about when Drink Champs and Nori did it? The problem with Nori is, you know, they were drinking, smoking, and it seemed like Nori wasn't pushing back hard enough on Kanye. So it just it makes it a bad look where you get everybody sitting down, smoking, laughing, grinning, and Kanye's going crazy on Jewish people, and it's just a bad look. It just couldn't stay up on it. It wouldn't be acceptable on any platform. One thing about what Lex is doing, Lex is letting Kanye go, but he's also coming right behind Kanye with pushback by saying, whoa, let me explain to you why what you said was hurtful. Let me explain the history of this. Like Lex really broke it down to Kanye, explaining why what he's saying is problematic. So it makes it where he's not just sitting there drinking, smoking, laughing at what Kanye's saying when Kanye's saying hurtful things. Not to say Nori was like laughing or like making light of situations, but I just feel like they were too drunk to realize that Kanye's pissing off a lot of people and actually saying hurtful things and needs to be checked immediately, So Lex was good at not wasting time. Right after Kanye says some craziness, Lex comes up, hey, I got to tell you why this isn't, and he also gives them advice to say like, look, this is a better way you could say this. You know, you don't have to say this. You can call out this person by their name and not group everybody in a group and try to like, you know, he was dropping knowledge. I don't think Kanye, I feel like he just wanted to get his point across, but he didn't really want to take Lex's advice. I hope he looks back at the interview and be like, I see what Lex is saying. But Kanye was kind of being hard-headed. It wasn't hard to understand what Lex was talking about and how he was explaining that what Kanye's saying is problematic. It wasn't a hard concept to register. It's just one of those people. I feel like Kanye sometimes when he feels like he's gonna like die on this hill and just stand on this point, even if the other person's making sense and actually has great advice, I feel like Kanye's just too stubborn to move off of his square, move off of his point. And I feel like that's what makes him lose a lot of people around him and a lot of friends, is like he won't take anybody else's advice. He won't say, oh yeah, you're right, I never saw it that, I never thought about it that way. Yeah, maybe I should have said this or that. It's just like his way or no way. So it's hard to get through to people like that when people think I'm right, I got more money than you, I'm smarter than you, I have all the answers. He did the same thing with Sway, and then he comes around 10 years later saying Sway was right all along. Like he literally screamed at Sway, you don't have the answers. The saga of Kanye West continues basically. What else? Yeah, he touched on trusting people. That was kind of sad and depressing. I was kind of disappointed. He really didn't give any like he didn't really give anybody any really good advice. At one point Lex was like, what advice do you have for young people? And Kanye just made some joke and he gave kind of like a vague answer to that, you know. And I kind of wish Kanye would take some of the questions Lex asked him a little more serious, because it's like so many people, especially younger people, that look up to Kanye. You know, it's a lot of people, a lot of fans that look up to him, and I feel like he does them a disservice when he doesn't like give them game. Like, you know, like people want to know, anybody that comes from where Kanye came from up to this point to becoming a billionaire, everybody wants to learn how to do that. You know, like, how can I better my life? How can I become a billionaire? How can I become a millionaire? How can I become a thousandaire? You know, and a lot of times people look to these celebrities and certain people for the answers because they've done it, you know, so they have to know. It's kind of like the idea of, well, they obviously have to know more than I do because they have more than I do. And that leads to questions like, hey, what advice do you have for young kids? What advice do you have for young musicians, young artists, young engineers, and just to kind of like brush that off or say some joke, or it's like those moments are important. And I just wish sometimes celebrities would take those questions more serious, and I wish they would like kind of think back to when they were hungry and starving artists and trying to get on, and nobody believes in them, and everything's a no, everything's a nah, you're not good enough. I wish they would channel that energy and kind of go back in time and really take those questions serious and be like, okay, yeah, if you're a young person and you're trying to do this and that, here's what you need to do. Kanye, when he talks about Kim, I kind of check out when he starts talking about Kim, because it's just, to me, it gets weird. It just gets weird because he goes back and forth. Sometimes he's criticizing Kim, then the next time he's talking about how beautiful she is and how her DNA is amazing. Like, he goes off on this tangent about her DNA because her dad's Rob and her mom's Chris, and she has this perfect DNA. And it just gets kind of, I don't know, for me it just gets kind of weird, because then when she's keeping him from seeing his kids, then he's like going on Instagram lives talking about she's trying to bring down the black man. So it's like, I just need Kanye to just figure out what emotion he's gonna have. It's weird, like he can stand on one point, but he can't make a stance against the Kardashians. He's like back and forth with the Kardashians. At one point he loves Kris Jenner, then the next day he's complaining about Kris Jenner. At one point he's complaining about Kim, then he's praising Kim. I mean, and then I think a lot of it's dishonest. I think Kanye never wants to show that he's hurt, but I do think he's hurt. I think he's hurt by the industry, the music industry. I think he's hurt by the media. I think he's hurt by what the Kardashians has done to him. I think he's hurt about a lot of things. But Lex asked him like, hey, are you Balenciaga cut ties with you? Did that hurt your feelings? Adidas is trying to cut ties. Everybody's walking away from you. Does it hurt your feelings? And he's like, nope. I can't feel a thing. And he's just like starts singing a song about how nothing can hurt him. And I just think he's covering a lot of pain up, because everything he's complaining about is coming from a place of hurt. So I feel like he should be more honest and transparent. Like, yeah, I'm pretty messed up. Because I think that's what people want to see. People want to see the human side. People don't want to see you act like you're untouchable, because they know it's not true. They know when the cameras go away, you might be sad. But I know he's probably doing a never let them see you sweat type of thing. But I think he owed Lex a little more than just this bravado of I'm cool. I don't know. I just like when people are more real, because that's what the internet is. I mean, if you want to see people pretend like their life is perfect, you can go to Facebook, Instagram, and just look at photos and pictures and be like, wow, everybody's living a perfect life. You don't really want that when it's an interview. Like in an interview, I want to hear, hey, all right, what's going on? Really, talk to me. So yeah, I'm pretty much done rambling about this Kanye interview, but shouts out to Lex for conducting pretty much the best, most concise. I don't know, maybe he got lucky. He just caught Kanye when he was a little more calm, because this is the most calm I've seen Kanye. He did spaz out toward the end, but he kept it together for over an hour and 30. So I'm like, I gotta give it to Kanye for that. He at least didn't start shouting and screaming until toward the end of the interview. So yeah, hopefully you guys check that interview out. Like I said, Lex Fridman and Kanye West. It should be on Lex Fridman YouTube channel, also on Spotify. So definitely check that out. And it has timestamps for my impatient people that hate to watch a video all the way through. They just want to skip around. He has tons of timestamps, so you can click on whatever you're interested in. The fashion talk, the media talk, the Kim Kardashian stuff, whatever you want to hear Kanye talk about, it's on there. But yeah, check that interview out. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about Kanye. Are you see how this plays out? Yeah, man. Let me know what you think, and I'm out.